welcome back to Belle's Books. Today I have a little bit of an impromptu video because I am actually doing a book haul, and I have never done a book haul before, a book haul video before. I've obviously hauled books as in purchased books before because I read a lot, but I've never done a book haul video before, so I'm really excited for this one. And it was just a bit unexpected. My mom was like, I'm going to the secondhand bookshop, do you want to come? And I was like, forget my work. Yeah, of course I want to come. So we went. And these are the books I picked up. Now I have to admit, I am cheating a little bit because I did go last week to a different book sale, secondhand bookshop, and I picked up these two. Then I picked up these 7 today. So these are the 2 I got last week, and I actually read these already, which does make me more equipped to talk about them. So I'll just get into it, I guess. Please don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. I post every single Saturday. So the first book I picked up was Girl with a Pearl Earring by Tracy Chevalier, and this is set in the 17th century in the Netherlands, and it's about a girl whose father is injured, and so she has to go and work as a maid for a painter nearby, and she kind of moves in with them and begins a new life. And she's really kind of enthralled by the painter's painting techniques, and she's just kind of like enticed into that world of painting, and it kind of battles with her very Protestant, very like strict, very conservative upbringing, and she kind of really struggles with that, and she eventually has to decide between that art and her conservative, and it's just really well written. I'm not necessarily a massive fan of historical fiction, but this was an amazingly well written book. I do love historical fiction sometimes. You can watch my Tattoos of Auschwitz video, I'll link it down below, and I love that book. But just the way that this book is so descriptive and the writing is so descriptive, and I've never been a person who is particularly in love with art, but the way that she kind of describes paintings and describes the process of painting as she learns more about it is really intriguing, and I love that aspect of the book. So the next book I have is Railhead by Philip Reeve, and I picked this up because I read Mortal Engines about a year ago maybe, and I really loved that book. It was so well written, and then I watched the movie and I was massively disappointed because the movie was barely skimming the surface of all the aspects which made Mortal Engines amazing. So I picked this up because I thought I'd really enjoy it, and I was right. It's kind of steampunk, science fiction, fantasy, and I love that type of book. It was really I don't know if steampunk's the right word. It was very futuristic though. I love the way that he writes, and I love the way that he writes his characters. All of his characters are so interesting and unique. He's not one of those authors who kind of reuses tropes from other authors, or even, it's not even medievalist literature, like kind of fantasy. You've got Lord of the Rings, and that's kind of like based on what we consider medieval fantasy creatures, etc. What he does is a completely new kind of fantasy, which is of course science fiction, but I just love how creative his world building is, and yeah, I really enjoyed this book as well. I would definitely recommend it to you if you enjoyed the Mortal Engines or if you watched the movie. So now getting into the books I actually haven't read yet but purchased today. So I have first of all this trilogy by Haruki Murakami, 1Q84. And this is all 3 books of the trilogy in one. So I know that this is a dystopian fiction series, and it's kind of a retelling of the year 1984 and kind of reimagining what that would have looked like. It was originally written in Japanese, so this is a working translation, and I've just been wanting to read this for so long. I've seen so many amazing reviews of it that when I saw that the trilogy was there and it only cost me like a couple pounds or something. I obviously don't know much about this book because I haven't actually read it yet, but I do know that it kind of covers the stories of 2 different characters and how they kind of intertwine and the differences and similarities between their lives. So I know on Goodreads as well it says that it's a love story, it's a mystery, it's a fantasy, so I really can't wait to get into this. So the next book I picked up was Anne Enright's The Green Road, and so this was the winner of the Man Booker Prize, I assume in 2015 because that's when it was first published, but it doesn't actually say. So it is set in Ireland, and it's about a family who kind of, as the children grow up, kind of separate and migrate away from one another, and then their mother, once they're all adults, announces that she's going to sell their family home, and they all kind of converge and return home and interact with each other again. The premise of this story honestly sounded really sad, which is one of the reasons I wanted to read it. I feel like it's going to be one of those books that it's just really emotional and kind of like you can't read it without kind of feeling what the characters are feeling, so I am really looking forward to that. The next book I picked up was The Thousandth Floor by Catherine McGee. The higher you are, the farther you'll fall, and it is about New York City in the year 2118, so less than 100 years ahead of our time, but apparently that's enough for a dystopian science fiction novel. So it's about 5 different teenagers who live on different levels of this 1,000-story building, and there's kind of this idea, I think, that the higher stories are more perfect, kind of where you want to be, like the more perfect you are, the more rich you are, you live higher up, and the people on the lower levels are, I guess, poorer, etc. I'm not really sure. I just really loved the cover and I loved the premise, and I do love a dystopian fiction novel, so I thought that maybe I would enjoy that. So the next book I picked up was Machines Like Me by Ian McEwan. So first of all, how creepy is this cover? Literally, it's like a plasticky kind of man doll, and then there's a woman on the back. Honestly, so creepy. And the reason I picked this up was just because I've heard amazing things about it, and it's an alternate reality of 1980s London. So it's about a girl called Miranda and a boy called Charlie. They kind of purchase a synthetic human and design his personality, and then they kind of have a love triangle together. It just kind of intrigued me, this whole idea. This is kind of like a twist on a love story, really. So the next book I picked up was By Light Alone by Adam Roberts, and this is again an alternate reality or a science fiction novel, and this is set in New York in a world where humans no longer eat, but they photosynthesize through their hair because we've been like genetically modified. I mean, the premise is kind of dramatic, first of all. It's certainly intriguing, and I mostly just picked it up because the cover was really beautiful and I felt like it fit well with the themes of the other books I picked up, if that makes sense. Like I was kind of on a dystopian science fiction alternate reality kind of train when I was picking this up. So yeah, this is my book haul. I will let you guys know how I get on with it. So have a great day, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe for more content, and follow my Instagram at Bells Books for photos of books and so much more. Bye!